Hello, everyone, and I hope you can hear me now. Yeah, perfect. So, nice. Thank you to Natera for this invitation. Really grateful to have this support. I'm Lukas Schertel. I'm CEO and co-founder of Seprify. This is an exciting week for us. We were just able to announce our Series A funding, which Natera participated in, so I can officially call them an investor now, and I'm excited to be here today. So we heard a fantastic talk about circular economy and really the core principle of recycling behind it. But if we go into circularity and really think of how should we design products, we actually don't want to create products that need recycling, but we want to work with products that we can degrade at the end of their life and that we can regrow the feedstock. This is the true circular economy, I think, where actually we include our planet. And this is, if you want to do that, you have to use plant-based materials. The number one plant-based material, the most abundant biopolymer on Earth, is cellulose. Cellulose is the backbone of every plant, and this is what we work with, what we create products with. We make out of cellulose high-performance, highly functional ingredients for a wide range of industry to enable them more safe and sustainable product and help them to work towards more circularity and a circular economy. As you can see from the pictures on the right, we work in different industries, cosmetics, food, coatings. We have a flagship product, which is this white pigment from cellulose. And with this, we replace titanium dioxide, a heavy metal-based pigment that comes with both environmental and health concerns. But I'll go into that. But I want to start with, I think, why we're here today is because we still use mainly materials that are harming in all our products that we have around us. We use a lot of metals and minerals, especially when it comes to pigments and things like that. I'll come to that. But we also use a lot of microplastic. We're here in Monaco, the ocean. I think this is one of the ecosystems where we care most about the microplastic pollution. And all of these processes, they make a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. And specifically for us, how do we address that? Well, this white pigment, just to give you an idea, titanium dioxide, currently we still use 5 to 6 million tons of these heavy metal mined pigments every year. The microplastic pollution in the EU alone, we have 140,000 tons of intentionally added microplastics to products. And we have solutions to that with a fully natural material, and we do this with more than 80% greenhouse gas emission reduction with our cellulose products compared to the incubants. So there are solutions out there, and one of them we are working on, but still we don't have them fully implemented. And the reason are complicated, but I'll boil it down to this. Many solutions, they fail either technically, because you really need to get the functionality out of the material as you have in a metal-based material, or they fail economically because it needs to be abundant available and needs to be scalable. And this is where I think cellulose is a really unique material. It's the most abundant biomaterial on Earth, and it's actually a material that we know for decades, so we really have a deep understanding how we can engineer this into high functionality, and we have existing value chains, so we can innovate in these existing value chains. And this is exactly what we're trying to do at Seprify with our technology. So we use with suppliers of cellulose who produce this as a commodity, and then we have an extraction process to make these highly functional cellulose particles with extremely high yields, and from this create different products for optical applications, so pigments. I mentioned this before, but we have more. We have a portfolio of products by now. We have a cellulose UV booster to replace fossil-based UV filters actually for the care and cosmetic space. We have a cellulose white pigment to replace titanium dioxide, a heavy metal-based pigment that makes everything white around you. And we go even beyond that into mattifying, so how things appear in the paint and coating industry. We keep innovating. We have 11 patents granted and keep also filing new technology patents into the electronic space. This is where our latest pipeline goes into. But let's dive into specific examples to make it more tangible for you. Really, everything, making white is not really hard. And we have a lot of white things around us. Even clouds are white. But what is really hard is making white using very little material on very thin scales. This is where titanium dioxide, this heavy metal material is extremely good at. It's a $20 billion market, but it's been classified as potentially carcinogenic. It's banned in the food industry in the EU, and it actually comes with a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. And there's no natural alternative around that really can perform against this material in the different markets where it's applied. With our cellulose white, we have engineered cellulose to have a structure that scatters light extremely well and therefore can create this whiteness with extremely low loads, and then do it in a very sustainable way. And even we use the same type of cellulose already in food, so it's an edible material, and it's abundant available, so it can be produced really cost effective. And to prove that, I think we can say proudly that we were able to prove that after 24 months of collaboration with the #1 largest natural food color house in the world, doTERRA. We actually have now a partnership where they use this as their white. They have everything. They have blue, green, red, but they didn't have a natural white in their portfolio. Now they have a white, and you can see we're going after all kinds of products, from confectionery to bakery to beverages. So your coffee creamer, your donut, all of these kind of basically food that we consume every day, and that has some kind of a color, really can use now a natural white. It has a high opacity, but it's also a very stable material. It's a non-nano material. This is where titanium dioxide was actually classified as being dangerous, and it's a very flavor and sensory neutral material. So we're going out to all the large brands out there at the moment, but we're going beyond the white. So in personal care and cosmetics, we have created this UV booster. We understood and really that the customer pain is not about whiteness in this space, but for example, in the sunscreen sector, in the makeup sector, in the skincare sector, UV protection is a big, big factor. And making our knowledge is about light scattering and creating that with cellulose. We created this cellulose UV booster that we launched in Europe now with our partner Grohmann, but we have it globally available. This is a high-performance natural material that is now available on the market. It's even used in other subsectors there for mattifying, or when it comes back to the whiteness in oral care, your toothpaste, where titanium dioxide is still not banned. And often we see actually in Europe, we have seen a ban of titanium dioxide. In other jurisdictions, it's not entirely banned. And one thing that the policymakers state publicly is because of the lack of alternatives. So this is really something where we think we can provide an alternative, and we can show that we provide this at scale. The policy will also change. But it was mentioned before, where one of our very early trust investors is actually IKEA. If you've ever been to an IKEA house, you probably know why. Everything is white. And the problem they have is not health, it's not actually the safety of us, but it's really the circularity of their products. These are wood-based furniture. If they are coated with heavy metal-based pigments, they have to take off all these coatings before they can recycle that. If you use cellulose, you can recycle it as it is, and it really enables the circularity for their products. So this is something that we've been working successfully on with them for a while, and now looking to integrate this into their products. But just to give you an idea, one of their product lines means more than thousands of tons of our white pigment. So to switch this supply chain means we have to scale. And this is where, we're very lucky to have them on board. It's one of the big corporates that is really committed to sustainability, I believe. We go, again, beyond white there. So surfaces, they can be matte, they can be glossy, and that also is, at the end, light scattering, how things appear. And we can create this with cellulose. At the moment, there are big players like Evonik out there in the market, but the really performant materials, they are not sustainable, and we have a sustainable solution from cellulose here. So you've seen that we've built a portfolio of natural functional ingredients. We gave them some names, Silva Luma, Silva Alba, Silva Folia, and they have a wide range of functionalities. And there's a full pipeline of customers. So really the problem that we are dealing with now is not to show that our material works, but it's we need to scale, because this is a huge market to address. So we started, because of several factors, by producing this. I mean, we've de-risked the technology in our own pilot plant in Switzerland, and then we went to toll manufacturers because we can actually implement this extraction technology with existing equipment. So we went to toll manufacturers to produce on the hundreds of tons scale. That's really the scale that we're at now, and we're now delivering that into the market. what made us decide to go this route first? Well, basically two things. One is speed to market. The problem is now, the regulatory shift is now, we need to be there now. And the other part is really to deploy the capital only once you've proven the market. So if we first want to sell on the, let's say, hundreds of tons, eventually thousands of tons, before we really look into tens to millions of investment into assets. And so, nevertheless, we believe there's one thing that kind of limits us in this setup, which is if you go to tolling, you will always have to deal with higher cost of goods, and that will also limit your market access, your competitiveness. We see there's a clear pathway forward, how our COGS will go down with scale by more than a factor of 5, and I think by doing this, so by expanding through in-house production and then further expansion, we can grow beyond the cosmetics and food market where we're already present now and go all the way into the coating markets. And I think the IKEA investment, who also reinvested in this Series A round now, is a proof of that we are not the only ones believing in that. There are others who believe in us being able to do so. So we have actually taken actions in this direction already. We have reserved 2 sites to build our own facility. We have done the engineering and the equipment de-risking, and we just got this month the green light from the environmental authorities to build up our production site. So where we are now is that with the Series A, we can really go out in the market and roll out the product, but in the health-sensitive sectors, and we want to grow this into the industrial sectors, and for this we will need more capital. So if you want to talk to us, I'm happy to have that discussion now or also afterwards. I'm super grateful for how far we've come already. I personally was involved in this more than 6 years ago in the invention of the technology. Found my co-founder Oliver as a serial entrepreneur and with a business and finance backgrounds that I learned and profited a lot from on how to build a business. And I think we also were with our CTO, Vadut Hamad, very lucky because he's one of the leading experts in cellulose and how to scale cellulose processes, has done this before. So we operate based on a lot of experience, and I'm surfing on that wave, if you want to say so. So we are ready to talk to customers now if they want our products. We are here to collaborate with production partners, and we are actually talking to investors about the next stage of funding, which is then the scale-up and deploying of assets. We believe the future of white pigments is in cellulose, but there's much more in cellulose than white pigments that we want to get out of this material as functional ingredients. And really, to implement circularity, you have to innovate in existing value chains, and this is what I think Seprify represents. Thank you for your attention, and yeah, look forward to.
Lukas, stay with us. Stay with us. Stay with us. Stay with us. We're gonna rebuild the stage for the panel now, but in the meantime, I'm gonna ask you some questions. Perfect. If you look around here, there's a lot of white. If you look out there, where's the ceiling for this business?
The ceiling, I mean, sorry, I'm not sure. This mic? Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, I mean, quite honestly, it's an enormous market. I think we're transitioning at the moment from a technology, having de-risked the technology, to now it becomes a capital allocation problem, because you need to build assets to industrialize and really produce these quantities. Titanium dioxide industry is an established 50-year-long optimized industry, and it will take quite some years to get to the same scale. But I think if we can get already to the 10,000s of tons, we will have a massive impact. And as you say, the sky is the limit, so let's see where this brings us. Thank you.